Good morning, we're in Yellowstone today. I'm Kate and I'm a park ranger here in the education department. And behind me you can see Mammoth Hot Springs. You might see it steaming a little bit, and we're standing right in front of the Albright Visitor Center. We did get about an inch of snow yesterday night, so we have some fresh snow on the ground even though it is springtime. It's about 32 degrees, so we're all bundled up out here. But our rangers today, we have Ranger Zach coming on, and he's going to talk to you all about winter adaptations. So winters can be pretty harsh out here in Yellowstone, so thinking about that, these animals have to find different ways to survive. But what is a harsh winter in Yellowstone? It means shorter days, heavy amounts of deep snow, and also lots of cold temperatures. But today, we're going to have Zach come on and really talk about how those animals survive in those harsh environments.
Hi guys, Ranger Zach here. I'm part of the ed tech team. I'm an ed specialist here in the park, and like Kate said, I'm going to talk to you about animal adaptations. We got lucky, it actually snowed last night. I know technically it's spring, but we're still getting snow here. So I'm going to tell you about how these animals have survived this past winter. Really, if you're an animal, you have three options in order to survive winter. And the way I remember it is animals get mad, and that's an acronym. The M stands for migration. We all know what migration is. That's we think of birds and that they're migrating. And then adaptation is when animals really endure the winter here, and going dormant, which is when animals hibernate. So they really have those three options. I'm going to first talk about how the animals that migrate here, the animals that migrate using their feet. So it's a lot more energy intensive than when animals, I'm gonna hold on a sec, there's some noise in the background. We got someone moving the snow. It snowed a lot last night. Cool. All right, he's gonna give us some quiet for a little bit while we finish this up. We're gonna talk about animals that migrate. Lots of birds migrate here in the park. We have over 150 nesting species in the park. But we're gonna talk about the animals that walk. So, the first animal I wanna talk about, this is a really big bull elk, by the way. They're not all this big. Are elk. And elk migrate just the same as birds, but just not as far. So elk are going to migrate from high elevations to low elevations. And the reason for that is there's less snow. So less snow means it's a lot less energy intensive to walk, and they can also find food. So elk are going to migrate from high elevations to low elevations. And when they get to those low elevations, they're going to dig through what snow is there, eating dead grass, bushes. I even saw an elk the other day eating pine needles. They'll really eat whatever they can to survive. And that winter foliage or the dead foliage is not very nutritious. So if the grass they're eating in the spring is like eating the cereal in the cereal box, the grass they're eating in the winter is like eating the cereal box itself. It's going to not taste very good, and it's not going to have a lot of nutrients for them. The next animal I'm going to talk about migrates, but it also is pretty well adapted to surviving in the cold here. And it's a very iconic animal here in Yellowstone, and that is the bison. Now, the bison's going to migrate for the same reasons as the elk will. And if it does snow, it's well adapted to surviving in the snow. It uses this massive head. Boom. It's pretty heavy. As a plow to dig through the snow. So if you're ever here in Yellowstone, you'll see them with their white faces. It's usually them digging their head through the snow, either when they're moving or they're looking for grass to get at. Another great adaptation they have is their fur. So they have their fur here, and it works a lot like how our jackets and sweatshirts work. They have two types of fur. So they have the outer fur, which is this light color, and that's called the guard hair. It's going to be really coarse, and it's going to work a lot like my jacket here. It's going to keep rain, water, wind off of the animal and keep it warm. And then it's got this darker fur, this finer colored fur. Yeah, that's going to look more like your sweatshirt, your insulation layer you wear in the wintertime, keeping the heat in and keeping them warm. So we talked about our animals that migrate. Buffalo migrate and adapt. We're going to move on to other animals that adapt. and another ungulate that adapts, or hoofed animal in the park, that doesn't really migrate much, and that's the moose. And the moose is really good at living in deep snow. It's got those long legs, so it's well adapted to picking up its feet and being able to walk in deep snow, and it's got those big, strong shoulders. The moose is also, the food the moose eats is also brush and trees, so those aren't going to be covered up by the snow as well. So well adapted to deep snow, don't migrate much. They really take an energy intensive way to survive the winter. If you have the moose that's plunging to the bottom of the snow, the most animals are going to stay on top because it's a lot easier if you've ever broken trail in the snow. And one I want to talk about is the lynx. And the lynx is cool because it has these really big paws. And these big paws, they act like a natural snowshoe, so they can stay on top of the snow. And they can move without using a lot of energy. So most animals that are enduring here or adaptive to staying in the winter are going to be ones staying on top of the snow. The next animal I want to talk about is really cool, really pretty. Everybody always, they go, oh, when they see it, is a fox. And they're really cool because of this big fluffy tail, and that's probably why everybody thinks they're so pretty. But it really is helpful in the wintertime. They can use this to curl up with it and stay warm. They'll block their face, keep the wind and the water and everything out of their face. And the other thing the fox does in the winter is the way they get food. They really use their ears to their advantage. They can hear really well. And the food that the fox gets is underneath the snow. It's those rodents and things that are still moving under the snow, and they can hear them. So often if you see a fox out in the wintertime, they'll be moving their head around. And they're sitting there and they're trying to hear under the snow. And a lot of the times they'll pounce or start digging really fast to get out what they're hearing, and almost like they're triangulating like a heat-sinking missile into the snow to get their food. It's really cool. So that's animals that adapt. We've talked about migration. We're going to go on to the D in MAD. The animals that go dormant or hibernate. And the first guy I want to talk about is pretty cute. Not as iconic as some, but it's the yellow-bellied marmot. His name's really fun to say. This guy will hibernate for about 8 months out of the year. So he's only active for about 4 months out of the 12 months in a year, which is crazy. So he's hibernating, and in order to hibernate, he needs to drop his heart rate way down. So his active heart rate is about 180, and he'll drop it all the way down to about 40 beats per minute, which is really crazy. He also will drop his body temperature down about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So when you're dropping your body temperature down like that, it's a lot less energy to keep yourself alive. So if you think of how expensive it is to heat your house, or how much more energy it takes as you turn up the heat, that's the same thing with animals when they're hibernating. If they turn down the temperature in their house, they save a lot more energy and a lot of money. So the next animal I'm going to talk about is a little more iconic hibernator. This is the grizzly bear. And we have a lot of them in the park, and they're actually starting to wake up right now. Saw one a couple weeks ago. And the grizzly bear and bigger mammals go about hibernating a different way. They don't have to drop their body temperature nearly as low. So a grizzly bear will drop its body temperature only about 10 degrees. And there's an advantage to that. If it needs to wake up, it can. It doesn't have to warm its body up too far to wake up that much. But they also won't defecate or go to the bathroom during that time. And they only breathe, if they're in hibernation, about two breaths per minute, which is really crazy that they've slowed everything down that far. So that's the D in MAD. We talked about migration, adaptations, animals going dormant. At this point, I would like to take any questions if anybody has any questions for me.
We haven't seen any questions, really. A lot of people are loving this, Zach, though. Great
Cool.
job. Join us on Monday.
Join us on Monday. We have another talk at around 11 o'clock. It's going to be on history. It's coming from the same team that I work with. It'll be another education technician coming to you. It'll be great. Tune in. See you guys.